We had a dev kit too, provided us by one of the employees at Oculus, and that actually worked really well. I had a Xbox 360 controller, and the 8-click just worked right out of the box using the SDK provided by Oculus. We had a hardware failure later on, and so then we got a new dev kit, and the Xbox controller wasn't working, kind of running towards the end of time, so I just went ahead and kind of hacked together my mouse look. Yeah, and hacked together the look controller to use left mouse click instead, but you're still using the gaze.
Looks good. If you had more time, how would you evolve the product? What would be the next steps that you wanted?
One thing we wanted to do was more elaborate functions, so the robot moves. So you give him, you examine or you move him, which is pretty straightforward. So in theory, we could have a symbol that could equate to all sorts of functions he does, and you have to sort of use some logic to think order of operations and whatnot. So that would have been the next step.
Yeah, and beyond that, you don't just have to mess with just a robot and some asteroids. Like another part of your space station might have a wiring problem. So now you're teaching electronics and circuitry, and the kids are in there messing with the wires, putting stuff together, figuring it all out. As I said earlier, like the design space is enormous, especially when you have the Rift on, and like pretty much anything you can do in real life, you can simulate pretty well in the Oculus Rift, and it's hard to like pull yourself away from that once you get into it.
So it's a nice creative blend of VR and learning. So it's like VR little bits type approach. And EdTech is, of course, huge marketplace. But it's also a very difficult marketplace. From a marketing perspective, and I know this goes beyond the hack question here, but how would you consider taking this to market?
I think the first approach would be either daycares or schools, so like a more B2B model. The Oculus is kind of expensive for consumers, but a school, I feel, could afford a computer, an Oculus that the kids could take turns on, and I feel getting a baseline of a handful of schools on board wouldn't be a hard sell.
I agree, actually. That would be a great approach.
All right, let's hear it for Robo Recon.